Hello, welcome to road.cc. Today we're here with Neil from Bowman.
Hello.
He's brought in his brand new Palace R to replace our frame set of the year from 2014, the Palace. Basically want to take us through what the changes are for this new model.
Okay, so you can. I'll leave you to hold it because then I can talk through this. Fundamentally, the only thing that stayed the same on this compared to the last iteration is the geometry, because as one of the things you liked on the first generation was how it handled. So what we wanted to focus on is making just a more kind of refined, revised version of the very successful bike that people loved the way it rode. So one of the first things that's primarily from a lot of customer requests was on our original bike we had a press fit bottom bracket because that allowed us to get the chainstays wide enough to fit the tyres we wanted into it. Whereas now with the new manufacturer we're able to get the same clearance but using a threaded BB, so 24mm axle, threaded BB, the bottom bracket standard everybody knows, just a standard British threaded BB. Everybody makes a chain set, never a problem, easy to fit at home. Press fit can work very well, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong with it. Bad installation, bad manufacture, lots of things. So very simple, threaded BB, and that's going to be on every Bowman frame from now on. Well, definitely everything metal we ever make will have a threaded BB. And if we ever move to other things, we'll see what's going on then. Front triangle, primarily a biaxial down tube, so taller at the front, wider at the back, because that's the forces you're opposing in a bike frame. Primarily how to get a frame to go around corners quickly is to keep the head tube and the seat tube parallel when you're leaning over, and you can do that just by resisting twisting forces. The top tube is very similar in shape profile to the last one, but much thinner walls. In terms of detail, kind of it goes generally between 0.1 and 0.3 millimeters thinner on various tubes at various places. The seat tube itself, it's going to be, if you were looking front on, you'd see that the seat tube flares down here. We kind of call it flare square because it's kind of a flared, squared off tube. But what that's allowed us to do is have a thinner tubing wall and maintain the resistance to twisting forces that you get through a seat tube. And because we're resisting those forces better, we can actually thin the walls right down. One of the ways you can tell how thick that is, on the original Palace we had a 31/8 seat post, 31/8 seat clamp, whereas on this one the internal diameter of the seat clamp is 30, so you can tell there's quite a few. There's what's that? Nearly 2 millimeters less in total. But one of the things that does mean is that we can't use a clamp-on front mech because the tubing is too thin, so braze on front mech. For those people who run one by, it won't look quite as neat, but it's a small trade-off to pay for the reduction there. The original Palace head tube was just a very simple tapered shape, machined aluminium tube, whereas this is a forged, kind of flared, more like a Coke bottle in some ways. It helps sort of get better weld areas around there, a more similar size, so stresses follow around things more, you get a bit more weld contact, things like that. It's also substantially lighter. That's the front end. Fork still 1.8, inch and an eighth to 1.5, full carbon, 340-ish grams, something like that. So a good, solid, reliable, unidirectional carbon fork. Went through like 3 iterations of layup with the manufacturer to make sure we kind of wanted the balance of the usual things. So it still goes around corners, but it's a bit lighter and a bit more comfortable.
Is it a completely new fork to go with this frame?
Yeah, it's completely new for us.
Yeah.
It's an original mould with some tweaks that we've done to the layup to get the feel we want.
Yeah.
And it's a mould that we've used and adjusted on other bikes we can show you later, where we've changed the slide at the bottom to get a longer leg and disc brake mounts and things like that. At the back of the frame, as kind of seen on Cervelos from 2010 on the carbon frames, flat oval stays, because it's pretty much a given that a beam will resist bending better in its deepest axis. So if you have a thin beam that way, it bends along its length that way or that way, but resists movement side to side. So you want a bike to be comfortable, and as the classic bike test cliche, vertical compliance, lateral rigidity, mix them all up, throw them in a thing. But yeah, you get more comfort without losing too much. And similar to something like a Dogma Pinarello, they maintain that asymmetric chainstay design, things like that. You can get all the stiffness you need with a smaller chainstay on the non-drive side compared to the drive side. So there's about 2 mm difference in the height of the chainstays. But again, completely different, much thinner walls, so you get a lot more comfortable ride compared to the original. Slightly sort of triangular in shape at this end, morphs to kind of square, squoval, roundy. Yeah, there's not really a whole round tube on the bike in its entirety, apart from the chainstay brace. That, I think, is all the major changes that I can see. We're now working with token on headsets, so nice little bit of matching branding on the headsets, but we haven't designed a headset or anything like that. We've gone through and picked. We like the quality of the full stainless steel bearing. We like the quality their split race, their expanders and things like that. So it's a little bit lighter, longer lasting bearing than the last one. The FSA was great, but if we can get the same product that looks a bit nicer, lasts a bit longer, and it doesn't cost the customer anything more at the end of the day, everybody wins. So yeah, and this is going to be available in this kind of like homage to the original that you tested back in 2014. And a two-tone green on green thing. Put a picture in somewhere, I suppose.
And it still take 28mm tyres like the original?
You can get a 28 in. The reality is we concentrated more on making sure the ride was right than huge tyres. 27s are fitted, 25s are fine, wider rims. I mean, there's the width. The primary issue you'll have with this, it's not the width. In order to get the handling you want in terms of chainstay length, there's a limit to how far that chainstay brace can go close to the BB, just in terms of manufacturing and welding. So there's that limit. So as you move the wheel forward, when you take it out, the tyre hits the chainstay bridge.
And this one's, but this one's Di2.
Yeah, Di2 compatible. Well. So whereas originally we had external, just welded on external brace, cable guides, these have got removable cable guides. So you remove the cable guides, 2 Allen keys, 3D printed cover, blank on one side, hole in the other, same screws back in, full internal cables. And if you're running Di2, if you're running ETAP, and you want 2 blanking plates, just it comes with 6 blanking plates, 3 holes, 3 blanks, so you can run any combination of all that sort of stuff. Like the last one, it's a lot more than just a race bike. It's named after a race circuit, but it's not because it's a race bike. It's because that circuit has really, really good corners on it, and I love the corners on that circuit. It's a great race bike, and we've had some really good success. We've had 6 or 7 victories on this already so far.
So in terms of weight?
The original was, we kind of had a target of sort of 1250, 1300 for sort of a given 56, something like that. And depending on the paints, sometimes they're a little bit above that, sometimes they're a little bit below. Whereas this, we've weighed a painted 56 at 1159. So give or take 150, 200 grams out of the frame and fork. So it's, we weighed a 58 and the frame and fork comes in at under 1500.
Impressive.
A raw 58 frame was 1160 grams or something, 1165. So, and given the kind of commercial situation with exchange rates and everything's gone up and stuff, we have nudged the price a little bit. It's 695 now as opposed to 650. So we'd still like to think it's a great value frame against its competitors and things, and still in the ballpark for that sort of good high-end aluminium, great base build.
So we'll be testing this over the coming weeks, and hopefully it's just as good as the original.
better than the original. It's a refined version of the original.